What? I had no idea that this was a thing. Are you serious?
Yeah. No, yeah, no, totally. It's actually it's conceivably a solution to the climate crisis.
What?
And but more importantly, if you were able to paint the streets of cities with it, well, not more importantly, because actually, if we could solve that, that'd probably be the most important thing. But if you could paint the streets of cities with it, for instance, it would cool down cities dramatically, which has a huge like impact just on all types of communities and on um, obviously on power needs and things like that. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, we should definitely do some other things too, but maybe in addition to those other things, we just paint literally everything white on the planet instead of people seeing like blue and green and everything is just white. Earth is just white.
Earth is white. Yeah, I think it's actually there's quite a few good. I mean, like you obviously have to take a multi-pronged approach to things, right? Like you can't just take a single approach to things.
Mhm.
But it definitely this solution has a lot of potential to solve a number of problems, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Is that your favorite climate solution?
Uh, oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, I don't even know how to answer that one, honestly.
Well, I'll tell you my hottest climate take is
Oh.
that my my great grandchildren will well, let me put it this way. Yeah. So my great grandchildren will be as shocked at the fact that their great grandfather ate meat, right? And
Mhm.
in particular beef, as they will be as they will be shocked as they will be like my son was shocked at how much his great grandparents smoked. Like
Oh, interesting.
it'll be looked at as something that um just is really getting phased out, really doesn't happen much anymore. At least here in America, smoking is not happening as much anymore. And there are lots of places where it's just flat out not allowed, things like that. They're gonna look at and a lot of that will be for climate reasons, not for not I mean, there'll be ethical aspects to it, but it'll be mostly for climate reasons.
Interesting. I love that. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's just so many aspects to all of this. I saw Hunter come in for Oh, there he is. Here, Hunter, let
Come
me
on back
invite
in.
you up. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat for us. We'll address them here in just a minute. I know we had the community launch for the NFT bridge. So some of you guys have been playing around with that. Hopefully you're having a really good experience with it, but we definitely want to give you a little like taste of what that looks like today and then also get your feedback. So if there's anything that you would like us to know about like improvements that can be made, etc., before we get into a public launch, which we would like to do next week, we want to get all that information from you guys. So that is kind of the intention of this call. We'll still do our general housekeeping and, update y'all on things other than what's going on with the NFT bridge. But I'm definitely feeling we talk a decent bit about NFT bridge in our conversation today. Does that sound good, guys?
Sounds amazing.
Charlie, do you wanna give an update on that, or how do you wanna start?
Why don't I give an update on just the dev work this week? I'll end with NFT Bridge, and we can kind of go into that. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, and if you can like show, ooh, we might run into an issue with you because I don't know if you've ever casted or like shared your screen to Discord before, but if you would like to give it a shot to show everybody what the bridge looks like, or if we've got,
So,
video or something,
yeah,
that would be
so
good.
yeah, so Hunter may be better able to do that because of his account on Prod, and he's run through it on Prod, so he probably would be a better person to do that. But let me go through this, and then maybe we can have Hunter share his screen and go through that if he's willing to do that. I don't know how set up he is for that, but does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's do
Okay.
it.
All right. So just some updates on the dev side. So I know we have over the past few weeks we've fixed some hazard issues around particularly reactivation and resistance. We've pushed those out to prod. We should be seeing good performance and stability and the resistance calculations should be correct out there. So we should be seeing improvements in accuracy as well. We're really getting to the end of the hazard fixes, which is great news. So that should be stabilizing, and we really shouldn't be making many fixes in that realm moving forward. Then when it comes to colony development, we have a couple of missions actually completed today and completing. And then we have 2 missions starting today as well. So just keep that in mind. And then we also have some fixes. I know that we have issues out there on rewards flow. So we're working on, we've actually put in some fixes in the last week, and then we're currently working on that and taking a look at some of the issues some of you are seeing. So know that we have that on the radar. Stephanie is keeping us up to date on that. And what you all are seeing, and we're trying to react to that and make sure that we're stable in that area. Then when it comes to Store V2 work, we're continuing to move along with that. We've got some great, like the gallery's really looking very cool. Can't wait to unveil that. We're working on really solidifying the end-to-end flow and then getting on to some of the just visual tweaks that'll make the experience just that much better, make it more intuitive, these sorts of things. So we're really getting close there. We're still planning on an August release for that, hopefully to get that to close beta sooner. But that's where we currently are today. And then the other thing that we're working on is we're working on a very cool experience right now that isn't a ton of dev work, but I think it is going to be a great experience for people, which is when you log in the future, we're going to give you essentially a report on the progress since the last time you logged in. Your kind of progress. We're going to have some charting that'll be sort of dynamic. That'll be cool. It's not going to be this extensive thing as you're signing in, but it will be a fun little thing to kind of get you up to date on where you're at since you last logged in and since you last looked at the game. So, and we're making good progress on that. We've done some fixes on that, and hopefully we can unveil that pretty soon as well. And then on the NFT bridge, that gets us to the NFT bridge, and we've actually pushed this out to prod under a feature flag for closed beta users. I don't know how many in the audience have actually seen it, but we've done that, and we have, and we're actually also then we have another wave of functionality that's going to come out this coming week. So probably on Tuesday is when we'll actually push it to prod to the closed beta users, which will actually have some basically an expanded experience around the NFT bridge and the collection view, and then and that will include kind of I would say some stats around NFTs and Marsha on the chain on the various chains, as well as expanded actions that you can take. One of which, of course, is transfer NFTs. So that's the look for kind of the second wave of functionality around that for next week, and that will be kind of the final phase of functionality around the NFT bridge, and then we're going to open it all up. So I don't know if you want to take it from there, Hunter, or how we want to go from there, but that's kind of the end of my update.
Yeah, honestly, I think you covered a lot of it. I don't know if we talked about, I mean, basically all the NFTs that you can put into the bridge, being the base cards, the ownership cards, innovations, all that stuff. That's opening up next week. Our bridge kind of went out without any issues, right? I mean, it
was
been pretty
solid.
stable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys are in the, if you're in the lead role, please try it. Please let us know what you think. Try transferring back from Binance to Wax. That would also help. Just make sure that we test it correctly. Um, but yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And I was just talking to Dr. Kirby the other day. He helped design a lot of the subsurface maps that we're going to be utilizing in the terrain, and also helped us decide what the right area on Mars for us to colonize would be. And he wants to be on a Twitter Space when we launch our data platform. I think a little bit later this month or early next month. I think we're going to launch it. So yeah. Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, like, the data platform is essentially where we want the scientists and the researchers and the engineers and the designers to hang out and help us make the simulation better. So, it will essentially have all the research we've done so far to design all of the stuff that we've designed for the game, as well as all of the things like the terrain and the weather system, etc. And then we want you to help us make it better by being able to propose updates to it.
A couple of questions here. Notice you're not doing much on Instagram. We are working on short videos. In addition to those, we'll probably be building out a strategy for. I mean, I'm already like pretty tapped into what I think the strategy is going to be for IG threads, but would love to see us build a little bit of a presence there as well. Instagram's one of those later platforms that we do plan on activating, but need to get through this launch first, and then we'll spend some time focusing on that with the short videos, in addition to some extra platforms and the ambassador program. And then for you, Hunter and Charlie, there's a question about Marcia earned per hour and the new player guide. Gunnar, if you'd like to repost the question about Marcia earned per hour, that would be helpful. And then have we launched the new player guide yet? I know we've done some work on that. Brady's been working on it.
Yeah, what is the schedule on that, Hunter?
So it will go out with our marketing website. I was reading through it last night. I think it's pretty close. I mean, basically, we're trying to put all of the one-to-one videos in there. We want to build out a few of the specialties in colony development guides a little bit more, but everything else is pretty much in there. So, yeah, I mean, maybe within the next week or two, we can do that. But the idea would be we have a new website and a new player guide within the next week or two. So everyone can kind of see the vision of the game and how to play it and everything like that. So yeah, it's pretty close. Is there anything that you guys want to see in the player guide that if you looked at the player guide today, you really want to have in there? That would be, maybe we can talk about that.
While they're answering that, there's another question from Gunnar about how do I know how much Marcia has earned per items like battery or quad bike?
So what you want to do is you want to go into the resource page, which is accessible in the menu on the top right. And then you will be able to see basically a chain on your screen underneath the chart. And then just look for the quad bike and the battery array, and then follow those rows over, and you'll see Marcia production under production there, and that will give you the amount that you're producing of Marcia for each of those item types for the hour. Now we are looking to put in a reporting tool so that you can run reports historically. So if you wanted to know how much Marcia have you produced all time, how much Marcia have you produced in the last week for those items in particular, you'd be able to see that as well. And then if you actually click on the Marcia icon there, you can see a breakdown between how much Marcia is coming from your base cards and then how much Marcia is coming from modifications. So things like skills, because some of the skills have to do with resource production. So hopefully that helps. Do we have any other questions in the chat?
Inti and Gunnar are both typing right now, so I'm gonna give them just a couple of minutes here, maybe.
Yeah, and I guess just to continue to go on the NFT bridge for just a little bit, the developments, I actually want to get a kind of a read from the community because we can actually open up to quite a few blockchains very easily. Very meaning like it wouldn't take months, it might take a week or two. And Charlie, you can like, if you're having a heart attack right now, just let me know. But
I'm breathing so heavy I can't really respond, but that's okay. I'll catch my breath and get back in.
But essentially, the bridge that we have, we are now bridged to EVM compatible chains, which means that any EVM compatible chain is pretty easy for us to work on. So that means Polygon, Solana, Ethereum, Immutable. So would you guys prefer us going to lots of chains rapidly with less marketing and potentially like less awareness, or go to one at a time over time and have a little bit more of like a marketing moment for each one. Just kind of curious what you guys think about that. And by the way, one of the things that we were talking about in chat yesterday was just how do people buy NFTs on these new blockchains. And so with our ecosystem, because we've spent quite a bit of time and effort engineering the store allows us to have you purchase NFTs with those currencies. So for instance, you connect a Binance Smart Chain wallet to your account. That means that in the store, you can use BNB to purchase NFTs. If you connect an Ethereum wallet to your account, that means you can use Ethereum to purchase NFTs in our store. And the NFTs will automatically get transferred to that wallet that you purchased with. So it still makes it easy for you to play the game on any chain. And your NFTs would get synchronized from that chain into the game. So, yeah. I don't see any responses to that last question. Do you see any? I don't think there's any.
I don't think so. There's a good one from NT who said, "How are we going to update the game when events in the real world change the timeline? For example, if the next starship makes it to orbit versus if the next to explode, that could lead to a year delay in all schedules. One way to plan ahead for dealing with such issues, and there will be many bigger ones, is to plan to fork the game on news." Interesting.
Yeah. We are obviously cognizant of those timelines, and we want to make sure that we're reflecting. I mean, if you think about reality as it exists right now, and you think about the real technological advancements that are happening in the space industry today, you think about Starship and having a large useful payload rocket ship trying to get to orbit. You think about some of NASA's programs around oxygen and water production on Mars. You think about the rovers and some of the technology that they're using to learn more about the surface and the atmosphere. And our goal is, over time, our version of reality on Mars and the real reality converge and continue to get closer and closer. So, one way that will happen is we continue to import the latest research in the form of upgrades and in the form of updates to the game over the years. And it just continues to get closer and closer to reality. But also like making sure that we are taking into account any changes that are happening with progress. So yeah, that's an important thing, of course. The time system in the game is something we're still working out. Should we ever rewind and play from another point? Should we ever have like a restart, the colony? What happens with the second colony? These are all things that can be discussed in governance eventually, so that we can make a decision that is the best for the player base. But yeah, it's the ultimate aim of this is to have it be a reflection of the real expansion process on Mars and potentially other planets in the future.
Gunnar wants to find out how the Marsha payout with his examples is distributed and how to make calculations on the dynamic payout as is. Is there a comprehensive way to look at it?
So, the best thing in this case is probably for us to sit down with a few community members and go through our API and how to hook into it, because we're only so big as a development team, and I think getting some of the cause and effects views out there will sacrifice great gameplay over time. And so if you guys can help us out by taking basically the outputs of what our simulation is doing and using it to create dashboards or tools of your own to visualize, things like dynamic Martian payouts, that's probably the fastest way for us to get to it. We'll get to it eventually, but I know that you guys want to know exactly how the engine's calculating various payouts. And we want to expose that as much as we can. It's just a matter of us being able to actually code it, uh, while still making progress on gameplay. So, yeah, maybe we can do that. What we can do on our end is make sure that all the API endpoints are exposed, and then you guys can take it from there. Raise your hand or let Ash know in Discord, or let Steph know that you're interested in helping with that, and we can set that up.
Sounds good to me. Oof, NT, we have so much to talk about. We don't have much time left in this like AMA call, but you and I should definitely sync, and we'll talk a bit more about what we could potentially do together. I know you have a lot of questions, so I want to make sure that those get answered, and you get to gauge the knowledge of the team whenever it comes to the actual science of like multi-planetary humanity, essentially. So let's definitely talk about that, because we don't have too much more time to answer all of those questions. We've got a couple here regarding colony dev and store v2. So regarding colony developments, we don't have or know the ISA plans about those, which is, as players, very difficult to be immersed in. Can we hope to see more lore content in the future? A story needs to be written prior to being told.
Yeah, the story is written for the ISA. We just, are exposing it. We're gonna expose it through our AI that we're going to be putting up with free to play. So that's how you'll interact with the story and ask it questions about it. We think it's going to be more immersive that way, rather than us just, telling you everything. It's more fun to feel like you're part of mission control, and you're kind of learning the ropes, and you don't want to ask everything to your to mission to ISA right away. You want to see things as they progress, and you want to understand things as you gain skills in operating Mars. So yeah, that's how we're going to do it. But we have characters, we have personalities, we have a backstory, we have that's part of our website that we're putting out in the next week or two, so you guys can see our vision there. But again, it's the perspective that we have is that the aerospace and bioastronautics industries are traditionally more closed off and more they're harder to break into as someone who's maybe more of an enthusiast. And the ISA really stands for more of a crowd-sourced community approach to innovating for Mars. And the ISA is the embodiment of that movement. And we actually think that that's a viable approach to organizing humans to Mars missions in the future. You know, look, NASA's had 60 years to get people back to the moon. And for one reason or another, it hasn't happened. And then Elon comes along and puts a iterative approach to it with a lot less capital and gets it done. And imagine if that sort of thinking is applied to the entire Humans to Mars mission program. I can tell you that, there isn't a lot of thought right now in the industry about long-term Mars missions. Everyone's focused on going back to the moon, which, in my opinion, is not going to inspire a generation to want to go to space because we've already been there. What will inspire people is humans truly living on another planet in a self-sustaining way, and the ISA is about that. So, as a player of Colonize Mars, you are one of the founding members, essentially, of the ISA that we hope to one day, merge into a, civilization space program, essentially, and have training and various other certifications through that vehicle. So, not to give too much away, but that's really where we're headed with it. And the game is the first, I guess, training and certification you can get about helping the Humans to Mars mission.
Love it. We want to hear all the stories, NT. For sure. Oh, that's an interesting question. Will landmarks like Olympus Mons play a part in the future?
I mean, we intend to fully kind of capitalize on the grandeur of Mars. I think that's part of the fun of going there as a human race, is because it's different than Earth. Because there is a mountain that's 3 times the size of Mount Everest. Because you can fit the Rockies inside of, Valles Marineris, right? It's because the sunsets are blue. And so, yeah, like that will be part of the story. We actually explored a little bit of that in the Redshift. So if you haven't listened to those episodes, it's pretty cool to kind of see how we can use storytelling elements to explore that. But of course, with the visual element, we are starting with the most probable location for a colony. And you won't go and do a road trip to Olympus Mons right away. It's going to take a while. You need to start with making sure that everyone can eat, there's enough power, there's enough water, and that systems are operational. But at a certain point, you can go and explore. You can go and move beyond the boundaries of the colony. So we're just moving a lot slower. I think there's kind of fantasy games that have existed before that, terraforming technologies, etc., that have a little bit more of the sci-fi element, but we don't really think that triggers the same muscle that makes people believe it. And that's really what we need to get people to believe in. Like we want people to believe that Mars can be a reality and it can be possible very soon. Because once that Starship hits orbit, that's a huge milestone to getting humans to Mars, and it's going to happen a lot faster than most people realize. And we need to know what happens in the not the first 200 years on Mars, but like what's going to happen the first like 2 decades, and how do we actually make sure that it's successful? So, yeah, Olympus Mons essentially will be part of later version of the game. Are we sure it won't turn into the wonderful and scary game Red Faction or Doom? So this is why we're running the simulation. It's better for us to know now than to get there for real and realize that it's going to turn into Doom, and to increase the probability that it won't. So yeah, maybe we won't get it right the first time in the simulation, but that's why it's a simulation. That's why it's not real life, and it's much better to do it now in a virtual world than it is to try it out for the first time, in reality. And that's really when we think about the real world value of what we're building the ability for in 3 years 2-3 years for SpaceX and NASA to ask this simulation a question about what's the right structure for introducing ice mining equipment on the surface of Mars. And I've been a part of panels and debates where the most brilliant people in the world that are experts on the subject, they all disagree in the way to do things. And that's pretty common. There's different approaches to this problem. So we need to test it. We need to put all of the ideas in the ring and see which one comes out on top. And so, yeah, that's essentially what we're doing, because at some point, someone's going to have to say this is the most likely scenario for success. And that is what colonized Mars will become. So that's why we're doing it. And that's why there's real value to playing this game. It's not like playing Occupy Mars or Surviving Mars, where you're doing it just kind of because it's for your own enjoyment. You're actually contributing to something that's a lot bigger than just playing a game, and that's you're contributing to helping ensure that humans can thrive on a different planet.
It's so good. Okay, I think that's a really strong note to end on, actually. I love to end on a vision. NT, I know your hands up. We don't really have any time left for today, but please reach out to me and or reach out to Stephanie in case I miss your message. So we can connect you with Hunter or like anybody else in the Colonize Mars team. Would definitely love to connect with you and hear more about what you've done and the science behind Mars. We do have a lot of like content and stuff we're going to be creating in the future about more specifically about science. um we are a simulation game that is building out a data platform to accumulate all of this information about what it's going to be like for human beings to colonize and spread beyond Earth. So we definitely need, like, there's tons of opportunities. So we will connect. Other than that, Charlie, Hunter, do you guys have any additional last thoughts for us?
Not
No,
from
thanks for
not from
tuning
my
in.
angle. Yeah.
Make sure to when we release this NFT bridge next week, we're going to be doing a couple, events around it and um, talking about it with various folks. So we're excited about that. That's kind of the next thing on the docket. So, tell folks about it. If you have people that are on the Binance Smart Chain that are looking for a new game, tell them about Colonize Mars, help spread the word. And yeah, let's make that jump a success.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming. We will see you next week. And yeah, enjoy the NFT bridge. Oh yeah, and come to the Twitter space tomorrow. It is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, 2 p.m. Eastern time. We will have a Twitter space live to talk about Mars and science and NFT bridges and all the things that we talked about today. So we will see you guys in that one. Bye.
Bye, everybody.